Hi, I'm Marie Laveria, and my channel is called Living with Simplicity and Discovering What Matters. And I have been making this is my third video on trying to slow the pace of our lives down when we retire from work. So I just wanted to give you information. I did two other videos on different ideas on how to help people slow the pace of their lives down. Originally, I did one, and someone asked me to be more, kind of like give tools, ideas. So that's what I'm doing. This is the third one and the last one on that specific issue. So it's another bit of information when we enter retirement, um, and work on creative ways to motivate ourselves to accomplish what we desire to do with our lives in this new phase. It's a very new phase for me. I retired 8 months ago, and it's been an adjustment. I didn't really think about what I had to, put in place or do as far as my time. And again, I wanted to just stress that whenever I share information, it's from my experience. It may not fit yours. Sometimes I might give you ideas of your own. So I'm just sharing to be helpful, and what I share is not the only way to do things. It's just the way I've been doing it, and it works for me. So sometimes some people, when we retire, we don't know what we want to accomplish or what our desires are. We don't really think about it, as I just said. Other times we lack motivation to move forward in this new way of living. I have an acquaintance that I met after she had been retired a year, and she had made a list before she retired of all the things she wanted to do, and she told me she hadn't even started doing one of them. And I asked her why, and she says, I just don't have the motivation. I just can't get going. So this is for people, that are like that. And it's many people. So many people find their identity in their profession. And when they leave their profession to retire, sometimes they have difficulty to create for themselves a new way of being. They don't know who they are anymore. They've left their identity when they left their job, when they retired. I remember meeting a man when I was living in New Mexico. He came to me for some support, and he kind of told me that he was an MD, medical doctor, and he retired fully, and he had no idea who he was. He only knew that he was an MD, and that was his identity, and now he's not an MD anymore. He wasn't practicing, and he says, I have no clue who I am. I'm totally lost. So it does happen to some people. I was a licensed clinical social worker providing mental health support for almost 25 years. And when I left doing this work 8 months ago, I had to adjust to being just me. And who was this and who is this just me person? Reflecting on our past life can give us a lot of information, like a roadmap to things and activities that once moved us with great passion and interest. In my search for this information, I wrote a 35-page paper that I called my short version of a memoir in January of 2026. I love to write. Now, some people don't like writing, and you can compose verbally if you want to. It's just kind of like recalling where I've been, where I come from, and what I've gone through. It helps us to move forward in a more clear way. I started writing about my grandparents and described a summary of their lives. I went on with each my parents and their family of origin, and how my parents met and shared a bit of information on my immediate family, my siblings and I. As I shared the summary about my family of origin, I described how I lived my life then and moving forward. I mentioned all my major life events and the lessons I learned, as well as all the accomplishments I had over the years as an adult. There were many challenges and many blessings and many accomplishments. While walking through my past life, I remembered things I had forgotten. I recall things that I really enjoyed doing. I was kind of surprised that sometimes I had totally forgotten certain things. Like, I didn't remember them at all until I went back and I started thinking about the other life events around them, and they came to my memory. Real life causes us sometimes to put aside the things we love to do so that we can make a living doing work that gives us a paycheck. A lot of us are in that boat. My memoir reminded me of many things I loved to do before starting my career. The real me loves to create. And I've been creating ever since I was a little kid. But I didn't have the time to create as much as I wanted to while I had children and a family, and I had work to do, paying jobs and all that. I think I did create in my work as a mental health therapist. However, I'm an artist, and I rediscovered that I love doing calligraphy. Calligraphy is the art of fancy writing. There's a history to it, and there's all kinds of styles, and I studied the whole thing. In fact, I remember when I was a very young child, I didn't even know how to write yet. It might have been 2 or 3, and my mother had given me one of her old purses, and I put a pencil and some paper in there, and every time I had a chance, I would take out the paper and the pencil and I would pretend to write, and I didn't know how to write the alphabet, so I just did scribble lines. So that's how much I wanted to write. So I had a desire to create using words, otherwise known as calligraphy, way before I even knew how to write words or letters. I only discovered that there was such an art called calligraphy after high school. After I heard about it, I learned how to do it for almost 4 years until I started doing it professionally way back in the 1980s. I love writing poetry also, that is short and to the point, about life lessons that I experienced and the bit of wisdom that comes to me out of nowhere. Once in a while I have those moments, and sometimes I do calligraphy using these poems. I remembered even more deeply less than 1 month ago my love for calligraphy as I looked at a few pieces that I had made over 20 years ago. I had kept them. They rekindle my passion. I didn't know I had kept them, by the way. I looked in some old pads that I had, paper pads, and there they were. They rekindle my passion to create calligraphy again. I also enjoy capturing nature through photography. I've said that before in other videos, using my cell phone camera. And I have a collection that I have accumulated for the past 8 years. I made greeting cards with the photos. I have over 20 different ones. I also mat and frame my photos. I mat and frame my calligraphy as well. Some are prints and some are originals. One way I motivated myself in making the time to do my creative art is by joining a local artist group. We gather once a month and share ideas on different artistic expressions. This helps us keep up the desire to create. The group can help us or keep us accountable, and this helps us be motivated. Going to art and craft shows can also help a person stimulate their creativity and motivate them to find and do their own creative expression. One last idea that I want to share today is the act of being grateful. Perhaps you have a grateful journal where you list what you're grateful for on a regular basis. When we take the time to reflect and write down what we're grateful for on this particular day, we start benefiting from positive thinking, and perhaps we attract to ourselves more positive things to be grateful for. Being grateful is a powerful and great motivator. Writing a short memoir to remember your life from the past until now, and joining groups of like-minded creative people, as well as keeping a daily grateful journal, where we list at least 3 things we're grateful for each day, are simple ways to making your retirement fit the person you are and to help get motivated. It's also ways of helping you slow down the pace of your life so that you can experience comfort and satisfaction as well as fulfillment. I hope this was helpful. It's my last of 3 videos on slowing the pace of your life as you retire, ways of doing it. I hope this was helpful. Until next time.